Today's going to be a little bit different today. So we've got a business dilemma. So Debbie, you want to introduce the dilemma?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. So in today's podcast, we'll be talking through, I guess, a case, like I should have said, a dilemma that we saw online. So essentially, there was a woman who was using the popular social media platform TikTok. And as we know, the algorithm on TikTok is fantastic. And therefore, you could have, only a tiny amount of followers, but you can still have content that goes viral. So this woman created this sauce, which was a very bright and vibrant colour, and it was actually pink. And it grabbed a lot of people's attention. And she said it was incredible, that it tasted delicious. Did you say it was more of a mayonnaise?
I think it was more of like a mayonnaise, but it was that type of texture anyway. It did look like a mayonnaise type of texture. So something that you can add with chips and so on.
Right.
And it caught a buzz, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so it caught a buzz. And so many people started to say, oh, I want to try that. I would, are you selling this? So then she started selling the products, which she was making in her kitchen, I believe, and sending it out. And that's when things started to go wrong. Do you want to take it from here?
Things started to go wrong. People started to complain that they were getting sick and they were complaining about how the packaging that it was coming in, it didn't look, I think some of the products were coming through damaged. Some of it looked like it had been opened already. I think some people were complaining that it was going off, that some of the sauce had gone off. So quite a few of the sauces were going off like immediately, or had gone off like in transit whilst it was getting to the customer's house. So there was quite a lot of like negative reviews. And then the woman then answered back on TikTok, gave her response on TikTok. Do you remember what the lady was saying?
Yeah, so initially with the initial backlash, I think she was saying things such as she didn't need to be regulated by the FDA because she wasn't making a medicine, and she didn't quite realise that the FDA stands for Food and Drug Administration. People had questioned whether she had used preservatives, and I think she had said that she had put a squeeze of lemon juice or something along those lines in the bottle and thought that was sufficient. Whereas, for an item of that nature, I think there are certain rules and best practice and good standards in terms of how to preserve the products, and that's part of the reason why people were getting the product of varying quality. And as you said, some people were getting sick, some people, their products was exploded before it got to them. It was just a mess, to be honest. So it was this huge viral moment, viral sensation, but then the business started to go wrong. So then after that, she was visited by the FDA in the US, who wanted to ensure that she would not be selling any more of the product until she could make it safe and address some of the major concerns with regards to the products, including mistakes with the labeling, with misspelt products. I think there perhaps were some missing ingredients, and also products like milk but without a preservative. So I think she was asked to pause or shut down temporarily at least until she could make those changes. And I think you said you saw recent reports where it seems as though she might be broke as a result of this venture. Perhaps due to complaints, she may have had to pay out of pocket to some customers, and also to maybe she had additional costs from the business. So what are your thoughts?
It's interesting. I think it's quite an interesting story. I suppose in some ways you could see the good side in terms of she's clearly got that kind of go-getter attitude to her, in terms of she had an idea and then she went after it, executed it, marketed it. I mean, the marketing must be very good. I mean, in some ways it speaks to the power of TikTok, where you can put out a post and seemingly overnight it can gain millions of views just like that. It's quite incredible. So clearly her marketing must be pretty good to market the product. And although on the other side it shows her sort of lacking the business prowess, or lacking the business skill, or just didn't know in terms of what skills that she needed. But it sounds like it could have been salvaged though. All she needed to do was just work with a team, or work with some people to make sure it's compliant.
It did sound like that. However, it does appear that she was very, I would say, combative, if that's the right word, or very defensive might be a better word, when it came to criticism of the product and people giving her advice. So for example, when people said, is this FDA regulated, she sort of pushed back and said, you guys are being ridiculous, it does not need to be FDA regulated. So she was very much ignorant to certain things, as you mentioned, or naive. But when people were trying to give her advice or give her feedback, she didn't seem to want to take it on board. She seemed very defensive, which I think is also a big challenge, because as you said, you said if she had worked with some people, but perhaps that's the issue, when people were trying to give her advice, which a team would have also done, she didn't seem to necessarily have the appetite to receive it.
What do you know anyway?
Yeah, that was her mentality. But I think also it could be, ironically, that could have been part of why she was so successful in terms of becoming viral, because people that tend to be headstrong, opinionated, you know, they tend to be entertaining. People tend to like them or gravitate towards them because they don't sugarcoat. They're not boring. They express their opinion. But that could have also been part of the downfall as well, because when she did have this viral product, she did not necessarily have the business acumen to, you know, make this successful and have longevity. But she also wasn't willing to reach out and either ask for help or accept the help that people were given. So, you know, there's a lesson there, I guess, which is I guess a business key there, which is recognizing your strengths and weaknesses and not being afraid to ask for help and listening to good advice as well.
Yeah, but also I think in terms of the marketing side, I think there's a key there in terms of, you know, how to market. I'm not actually sure how she marketed her product, but well, however she marketed it, that was, well, I mean, did superbly well in terms of the marketing. Like it drum up so much interest that people had to try it. Although part of it, as you mentioned before, might have been because, you know, some of the TikTokers wanted to also boost their own accounts by providing a review.
Yeah.
So that could also be part of it. That they were trying to just tap into the you know, to the views, to the fame that this person was getting from this.
Yeah.
This post. So, yeah.
So I guess, if we were to spin this into a dilemma, if someone had a product that they thought was amazing and they have a bit of a following on TikTok and they were thinking to market it on TikTok in order to, you know, make it into business, how would you advise them? What would you say, maybe your top things that you would say to do and top things where you would say not to do?
I think on the marketing side, I think, yeah, you can test different ideas, see what works, see what doesn't work. I think would be the main thing. I think perhaps look at what's working as well on TikTok or in the niche. I suppose different niches might be presented different ways. So maybe see what's working in the niche already and then see how maybe you can approach it in a similar way. But then you could also test approaching it differently as well. I think it's more of a testing and experimenting thing for me personally. I think the marketing side and just trying to think how you can grab the attention of the audience. So I think first things first, understanding who your audience is and what their preferences might be, and then from there, then trying your best to try and grab their attention. I think will be the main thing.
Okay. What I would say do your research in terms of the product and if there's any regulations involved. But I would say try to make your product in incredible quality. I would say sometimes the best promotion is also word of mouth as well. When you have testimonials from people who are saying, "Yeah, I've tried it and it's incredible," it's worth shed loads. So I would say make sure you have good quality product. Don't scrimp when it comes to the quality of your product, because you know you might get a few sales, but also you can have great reputational damage. So I would say maintain the quality. Make sure that is really, really high. Also, I would say customer service is key. You know, people do not have to purchase an item from, you know, an individual or someone starting out a business. So if they are buying it, they are also supporting you and your ventures and your dreams. So I would say, you know, treat people the way you want to be treated. And the worst, you know, we've all encountered really bad customer service and it can be very off-putting. So I would say, yeah, and this is something also feedback that the lady who created this sauce that we were talking about at the start of the podcast, she faced a lot of criticism for not providing great customer service and also being maybe a bit defensive when customers did make complaints. So I would say, yeah, focus on good quality customer service and ensuring that, you know, you respond in a fast manner and that you just provide customers with a pleasurable, you know, and happy experience. As you said, marketing is also very, very key. And I would also say, I would just say lastly, consistency as well. So just be consistent in terms of promoting, consistent in terms of the quality of the product, and consistent in terms of your service. So just everything, just keep that consistent. Yeah, you said the things to avoid or the negatives.
Kind of touched it already.
Yeah, so then the opposite, I guess, poor customer service. Let's see, you know, not shipping on time. That could be.
I think the quality. So I think it's important for whatever products you're doing. So health and safety, that should certainly be one of the top priorities. So like this one, food. I mean, you've got to do at least basic research to understand what's required. So she obviously didn't know what was required, but in the eyes of the law, ignorance is not enough. You need to know. So, you know, whatever industry it is, it's definitely worth taking some. I mean, you can look on. Usually, the government provides advice, and in the UK, you can look at UK Gov. I'm sure in America or in other places they will have their own equivalent. But if you look at the UK Gov website and then look for, you know, whatever the relevant field is. If it's food, look at, you know, Food Standards Agency. There's always like a department for each each type of products, and they'll give the guidelines and what you can and can't do, so, and what you need in place. So that's also I'd say super important in terms of things to avoid, things that the viewers could be doing as well.
Yeah, agreed. Well, I would just say also keep an eye on costs as well, because it's easy for costs to get out of control. And I guess to that quality point, making sure you have the right packaging, etc. So I think just quality, good customer service, and costs, would be key. So I would say, so as we've been saying, so quality, good customer service, and making sure you're in line with regulations, and also paying attention to costs as well. I think will be the key things, and if they don't go right, then I think it could be a disaster for the business. And if you do the things that we say we should do, it can help your business go from good to great, or from great to incredible. So let us know your thoughts. If you have any opinions or thoughts on the topic at hand, the dilemma, in terms of things to do better, or things to avoid in this kind of scenario, let us know. We'll be really, really interested to get your thoughts. And also, if you have any business dilemmas, please feel free to let us know.
Yes, definitely let us know your business dilemmas. We'd love to answer it on the podcast. It's a safe place, so don't feel like we're going to expose your business. We won't expose anybody's name or their business name. It's more just understanding what the dilemma is, being able to share that, and being able to offer some helpful suggestions to what other entrepreneurs as well can do, or what they can learn from the situation. So so let us know. Send that into our social media, and that will be great. So see you guys next time.
See you.
Bye.